And here we are, Microsoft Office Excel. We're doing Lesson 1, Exercise 5. Please find a textbook. Open to page 387. One more time in your textbook, 387. We are working on formulas today. So on 387, a formula is an instruction that Excel uses to calculate a number. Continuing 387, order of mathematical operations. This is my dear Aunt Sally, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or order of operations, where we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, add, and subtract. And Excel even works with this same order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And let's see, we're going to delete all that. And let's start a formula. So please open an Excel. Put it side by side with this video so you can follow along. And let's start in A8. And to make a formula, according to page 387, we have to start with an equal sign. And there's two ways you can put a formula. You can actually click in the cell that you want to use, or you could type it in. Let's try both. A1 plus, this time let's click, and B1, and then let's plus, and let's click in C1, plus, and this time type in D1. Let's type in E1. Let's do a lowercase one. E1, still going to be the same thing, plus F1, and then hit the enter key. And of course it's going to show up 0 because I don't have any values in here. Well, let's put some in. So for A1, let's put 5. Oh, the formula is already working. B1, let's put 9. C1, let's put 4. D1, 7. And E1, 10. And there's my formula. Notice all those numbers add up to this one. Another quick and easy formula is the Autosum. And let's try that one. And then click Autosum. And Excel's pretty smart. It's thinking I want to take the sum of all these numbers. And it's right here, so it already has it set up for me, A1 to E1. Hit the enter key, and there it is. Let's say I wanted to put the sum right here. I could Autosum. But no, I want it to be this one, so I would just click and drag. Make sure I don't do this one because that's my Autosum of those again. Hit the enter key, and now it all works out. We are on exercise 5, and on page 387 it tells us that in that checkmark, a formula can also contain Excel's predefined functions, which are covered in exercise 15. And so further down the road we learn about all the different formulas that Excel has. But if you click on this FX right here, it puts an equal sign in for you, but then it gives you some categories of the different formulas. And this drop down arrow will actually give you all the categories. And you could click all. And this is actually an entire alphabetized list of every single formula that is inside of Excel. Very few of them you will probably actually use. Very few of them actually I use. So there's a lot in here that really don't serve any reference to us. And we're going to close this function dialog box by clicking cancel because I really don't want to enter a formula. And that's about the basics of formulas. I mean, we're going to get it more deeper into formulas as we go on with Excel. But let's go back to A8, and now I can edit this formula if I need to by clicking in the formula bar. And let's say I made a mistake and I really wanted that one to be B2. So I could just simply put my insertion point where the 1 is, backspace, and change that to B2. Hit the enter key, and now let's put a 1 right there. Now this still adds up to 35 because I didn't change this one. But now this one has changed because I changed it to B2. Let's undo. Undo. And now my formula is back to where it should be. No, it's not. I see what I've done with this formula. Actually, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take out F1. And make sure I get rid of the plus sign or it's going to tell me I have an error. Now that looks better. But let's edit it one more time. Let's put a plus sign back in. And then I'm going to hit the return key. And Excel's pretty smart. It will know when a formula has been entered incorrectly. After I've hit the enter key, notice it says it won't let me work that formula because I left a plus, but I didn't give it any cell reference. And so to accept the correction, yes. To close and manage and correct the formula, click no. And see, it keeps telling me warnings. And so actually I need to fix that. So I'm going to delete the plus sign, hit enter. And now we're all back to normal. And really that's about the extent of it. We'll get more in depth in formulas as we go on. And so I guess we're ready for our lesson. And for our assignment, we're looking for OX, here I'll type it in. We're looking for this file right here, and on page 390 it lists it for you, but we're looking for OXL02, not OK, OXL02. We're looking for this file right here, and it's either on your desktop or in your My Documents. And pause this video so you can open up that file. And we will be on page 390. And here we go. We have OXL02. And it should look something like this. If you don't have this, then pause the video and continue to look for the one that's Coordinates Construction. It's an Excel file. Good, let's begin. Page 390. Please open your book. Make sure you're following along. I'm reading straight out of the directions. Please follow along. Number 1, we have started Excel. Number 2, we have opened our file. And number 3, we're going to save it as, we're going to change the name of it. So the Office button. Save as Excel Workbook. And I just need to change. I'm using the I'm using the left arrow key. And I'm simply going to change that to a 5. Everything else is going to stay the same. Change to my desktop. Click the Save button. And I have OXL05, and we're ready. Number 4. Enter the billable and other hours shown in illustration A, and illustration A can be found on page 390. Make sure you're there. The check mark says don't enter anything in the total column, which is J. These totals will be calculated automatically for you when you enter the billable and other hours. So why don't you pause and make your fill in G and I, and then resume our video. I've entered the billable hours and the other hours, and man, this file already had the formulas in place for me to where this cell filled in, this cell filled in, and all of these filled in also. So we're ready for number 5. Enter the labels in cells K10, L10, and M10. Okay, pause the video and do this now. Welcome back. I've noticed right away that what I've entered in K10 does not fit, so I'm going to go between the K and the L. Double click, and it expands. I'm going to go between L and M. Double click, it expands, and then M and N, and it expands. So now I can see. And actually, I'm going to make this a little bit better for me too. So I'm going to highlight all 3, and I'm going to go into the font group, and this box right here will allow me to put a grid. And so I'm looking for the one that says all borders. Click on him, and then now I can see, and it looks a little bit better for me. I know it doesn't say that in the book, but there's a little something extra for you. And continuing on, number 6 gives us some directions to enter in those values, but actually we're going to create a formula for that. So we're going to start right here at K11. And number 6 tells us that hours over 8 on weekdays are paid as time and a half. So since I know this, they've only worked 0.25 of an hour, a quarter of an hour over 8. I know 0.25 is going to go in there, but I want a formula. So we're going to start with the equal sign. And since this is going to be the bigger value, that if there's any overtime, this would be the bigger one. So we're going to start with this. So click J11, and then we're going to subtract, and it tells us anything over 8. And so that's why I put 8 right there, because we want to know anything over 8. And if I hit the Enter key, if I have it correct, then 0.25 should show up. And there it is. And I actually want this formula for the entire rest of the column. So I'm going to go back to K11. I'm going to do Control C for copy, or I can right click to copy. And I'm going to highlight all of these, right click to paste, or Control V at the same time. Right click, paste, and it put them all in there for me. And let's see, oh, this one's wrong. Why is this one wrong? Because within a week, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one and worry about that one a little bit. Let's start here. Notice we have some negative numbers, because on this day we worked less than 8 hours, and on this day we worked less than 8 hours, and this one we worked less than 8 hours. And so I'm going to create a rule. So I highlight all of my numbers, and then on the Home tab, we have Conditional Formatting, and this is way above what the assignment is, but I'm always trying to give you new tips and tricks, and we want to create a new rule. And here's some of the options we have, and I'm just going to kind of make this easy for us, and we're going to do formats only cells that contain, okay, and then it gives us some options, cell value between this and this. And actually what we're going to do is set it up to where any negative number shows up with white text. And so any number between 0 and negative 99999. So any kind of negative number. And then we have to format for anything that falls within that range. So we're going to click Format, and we're just going to change our text. This would be our text color. We're going to change it to white because our background's right, and then it won't show up. But the number is still there, so the formula still works. Click OK. Click OK. And you can see how our negative numbers turned white. And then when I click off, and now I can't see them anymore. So anything in the negative will show up. Now this formula here, this little cell down here, we can't do the sum because remember we have some white negative numbers. So even if I click here at K18, do Autosum, hit the Enter key, it says negative 4.75 because it's still adding the negative numbers in there or subtracting the negative numbers. So let's delete. Even if I Control copy the one right above it, Control V, then I'm subtracting 8, but then if I even multiply it by 7 days of the week, I still get a negative number. Oh, can't even see it. Yeah, negative 4.75, and then my rule makes it disappear. So I have to apply a special formula, and it's actually going to be a sum, but it's going to be a sum if. So I need to go to More Functions, and I have my dialog box, and let's right up here, because yours may not show up, but we're going to type SUM space if and hit the Enter key. And we're looking for this one right here. It says sum if, and this one's pretty neat. So we give it the range, but we have a criteria because we only want to add positive numbers. And so it's going only to add positive numbers. So I'm going to do OK. And make sure you're with me here. You may want to pause and go back and forth, but our range is the area that we want to take the sum of. And so I'm going to click right here on K11, and then I'm going to drag it to K17. Criteria, I'm looking for numbers that are greater than 0, because I don't want to add any negative numbers. And let's click OK. And that should be it. And look at there, 4.75. And yeah, it would be a lot easier just to type those numbers in. But if this was an actual document, spreadsheet that I was going to use over and over and over again for my business, then I would want formulas to show up so I wouldn't have to add or subtract that. Okay, let's try some more. Actually, see if you can do hours at 2 times and hours at 2.5. Go back to number 6, and it says hours on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So here's Saturday and Sunday, are paid at double time hours over 4 on weekend, or are paid at double time. So anything over 8 hours, right? Oh no, any hours on Saturday, Sunday. So hours on the weekend, so anything on Saturday and Sunday is double time, and hours over 4 are paid at 2.5. So I already know this one right here, 2.5. That's going to be 0.75, and this one's going to be 4.75. And then this would be 5 right here, and over 4 would be 1. So how could I create a formula to make this show up? And it only has to be a formula in those 4 cells for the weekend. So you pause, try to make a formula, and then if you can't figure it out, resume, and I'll walk you through it. Alright, hope you're able to figure it out, but if not, here is what I would have done. Saturday and Sunday, any hours I work Saturday and Sunday, I get 2.5. So we start with an equals sign. And I'm going to click this because there's my total hours. And then actually I'm going to subtract 0 because any hours that I work, I get paid double time. And then the same formula for Sunday. So equals, click on my Sunday total minus 0. Now the 2.5 hours for Saturday, this is where I'm going to put the 4 in because it says hours over 4 are paid at 2.5. So equals the same Saturday total minus 4. And now I get my 0.75. And here I know this one's going to be a 1. And so I'm going to equals 5 minus 4 hours there. And here's an easy way to get that total is to Autosum and Excel boxes in the ones I want. Hit the enter key, same thing, Autosum. Hit the enter key, and now I've created formulas instead of just typing that information in. Now I want this to look pretty because now it looks like it's just floating around. So I'm going to highlight these 3 areas, and I'm going to go back to my ribbon and go to my font group and find the all borders. And now I have a grid, and actually I'm going to provide some color to my totals. And so I'll go to my font group, and this is the background, and I'm going to put this orange background. I like that. I'm going to continue this gray, and let's see if I can find that gray color. Maybe I can't. Oh, let's see if I can get close. Looks like it's one of these. Oh, look, it gives me that little preview. So, and that text is bold. No, it looks like I missed it. I was just off. Maybe it's more of a blue. No, I don't know. Oh well, I'll go with that one. I'm close. But I can center it. And I can make my alignment in the center. Oh, now it looks much pretty. And number 7 tells us to adjust the width of the column so you can read all the data that I have done. And check the spelling. I don't need to. I didn't type any words. And close the workbook and save all changes. And this is it. Assignment 5 is now complete. File, save as, Excel workbook. Make sure I'm on my document or my desktop, sorry. There's my file name. I'm going to click save. And yes, I do want to replace it. And now I'm ready to turn this into my Google Classroom. And so I hope you have enjoyed creating some formulas. And I hope you just didn't type the numbers as is, but I hope you really went through and put the formulas in with me. Thank you very much. Have a great day.